Hey guys, it's R Runner 144. Wanted to do a video today talking about how Elon Musk buys Bitcoin, um, what tools he uses. It's something a lot of people talk about, but they don't really go into how he's actually doing it. He's actually doing it in a quantitative way using computer programs, and it's something I can somewhat speak intelligently about. And if you guys don't know me or my background, I'm a crypto trader who uses quantitative analysis as well as my own trading bots to purchase and sell Bitcoin. Um, and s- I code my own bots, I code my own indices and stuff like that. And I also code my own indicators. And if you're interested in any of that type of stuff, you can go to stackedinvest.com and you can find my bots there. I write the Captain Quint bots, and you guys can have a quantitative bot trading your account 24/7. So it's making trades, making gains while you sleep. So, anyway, back to what I wanted to talk about. This was the shot heard around the world. This was Elon Musk telling the world that Tesla had bought Bitcoin. They had essentially staked about 15% of their USD reserves into Bitcoin. And a lot of people think he just did that overnight or did it in 2021. He actually did it in 2020, at the very end of 2020. And he did it in a really interesting way. And there was a timeline associated with it that I'll go over. And this is the Elon Musk Bitcoin timeline. But before I go into this, I've got to kind of need to go into some key players. Two in particular being Michael Saylor with MicroStrategies and Gary Silbert, one of the CEOs of Grayscale. And if you guys don't know who those companies are, you really need to look into them. They're really good and they're one of the key backbones of Bitcoin. But I'll try to keep this video short, so I'll try to paraphrase as best I can. But the main guy that we want to be focusing on is a guy named Michael Saylor. You see him as kind of the head of MicroStrategies. Really cool guy, and a lot of people see him as a suit CEO. But what a lot of people don't realize is this is actually an MIT educated quant. He's a computer guy at heart. He does a lot of really cool things with computers, and one of the things he specializes in is entering into positions without inflating the price. The last thing you want to do is to try to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin and have the price double on you while you're trying to enter. He's got a lot of computer models and stuff that he does to do that, and these were the actual computer models that were used, um, that Tesla used. And I'll kind of go into the rabbit hole of that, and I'll back it up in a little bit later. The other guy we need to focus on is Barry Silbert. This is the founder CEO, one of the big top guys of Grayscale. And if you guys don't know who Grayscale is, I believe it's the biggest Bitcoin trust in the world. These guys are buying up more Bitcoin than is mined every day, by themselves. So we're going to keep seeing a lot of the price go up with a lot of the help from these guys. So I really, really like what they do and really like what they're all about. But with the long story short here that I'm trying to focus on with Barry Silbert is he's got tools, he's got insight into the blockchain that none of us have. Um, and he's kind of a counter confirmation of my suspicions of what happened with Elon and Michael Saylor. And I'll get into that in a little bit. So going back to the timeline, on December 20th, 2020, Michael Saylor offered Musk his Bitcoin playbook. And a lot of people don't know what this playbook is, and we'll get into it in a little bit. But it's essentially the keys and tools of how to purchase Bitcoin as a company, particularly in the United States. How to do it legally, how to set up your all the legal backend so the SEC doesn't wreck you, and how to safely store it and all that. But one of the things buried in this playbook is how to actually buy Bitcoin. Um, and this engagement, December 20th, actually came off in this tweet. And this is a really cool tweet that I liked. I've saved. But um, Michael Saylor was poking at Elon Musk on Twitter, saying, "Hey, you should really do your shareholders a favor, $100 billion favor, and convert the Tesla balance sheet over to BTC. Other firms on the S&P 500 would follow your lead in time. This would grow to become a $1 trillion favor. Now keep that S&P 500 in mind." So Elon comes back. Are such transactions even possible? So Elon Musk has known about Bitcoin for years, but he's never really dove into it. It's kind of been a novelty, and I can't blame him. He's a busy guy trying to go to Mars, Tesla, solar panel, you name it. I mean, the flamethrowers with the Boring Company. He does everything. And Michael Saylor got his attention here, December 20th. Yes, I've purchased over 1.3 billion in Bitcoin in past months and would be happy to share my playbook with you offline from one rocket scientist to another. So there's the playbook keyword again. And this is December 20th. This playbook hasn't been published yet at this time. So back to the timeline. Go back. This is that tweet, December 20th. Elon's talking Bitcoin. Michael Saylor got his attention, said, "Hey, I can do it. Bitcoin can hold it. I'll show you my tools how to do it." 9 days later, Grayscale sees Tesla in the blockchain. So, like I said, Barry Silbert, Grayscale, this guy's got tools. He sees blockchain movements like none other. This guy right here has been watching Michael Saylor buy Bitcoin since the beginning. He can spot him, he knows how he does it, and he knows what it looks like. So, as he's monitoring the blockchain, some 9 days later, after Michael Saylor offers the playbook, player number two shows up in the blockchain gobbling up Bitcoin. Now, remember, this was 2020 in December. Tesla was buying in December. They were buying Bitcoin in the 20s, not in the 50s like it is today. They bought their stake of Bitcoin at around low 20s. And people don't realize that. A lot of people think they started buying in 2021. That's not the case. He got a lot of that in 2020 at a very, very cheap price. And when he's saying perhaps alluding to market purchases, you're damn right. He is alluding to market purchases. Barry Silbert, right there, December 29th, confirmed, or December 30th. I see you at 1:46 p.m. at Elon Musk. Elon was moving and buying and had not publicly disclosed it yet. And that leads later on to this right here, saying later on in January 9th, people are going to absolutely lose their mind when they see how much Tesla's buying. It's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Um, and he continues to see it, continues to see tons and tons of money coming in. And he says on 29th, we see this, the shot heard around the world. This is, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. One of the biggest companies in the world is now into Bitcoin and now has started the race of the Fortune 500. Um, you want to be the first 10 companies in the Fortune 500 of Bitcoin. You don't want to be the last 10. And that's something to keep in mind. So, right now, we're in the middle of a race. A lot of big corporations are looking to do this. Inflation's at some of the highest levels we've ever seen. There's a lot of companies looking into Bitcoin more seriously. And now Tesla's shown that they can do it. There's a lot of rumors Apple's starting to do it, and they might be. I don't know, but one of the things I kind of wanted to point out here, as I've really gone down this rabbit hole, is about this playbook and what Michael Saylor is and does. And if you really look into his background, there's one interview that sticks out. This is a long-term interview on Real Vision Finance on YouTube, and it's a really cool one to study. But uh, Sailor never really tells you explicitly what he's doing, but he will give you bits and pieces, and you can kind of piece it all together if you've got enough time and really want to study it. But in this part of the video that I wanted to show, Michael Saylor's talking about in his younger 20s developing computer programs to do $1 billion investment, how to calculate it, how to do it, how to make the investment, make your gains, and get out. And I wanted to show this because this is pre-Bitcoin when he's in his 20s. This is the MIT guy figuring out quantitative analysis to move gigantic piles of money into a market without disturbing the price, and then later getting the price moved up and then exiting. So I'll mute my stream and then start this up real quick.
PhD and be a professor, and life was done. And just as I did that, I informed my boss, and my boss worked at the DuPont Corporation, and I had built a computer simulation to predict the return on the investment of about $1 billion of capital investment in titanium dioxide. And they needed that model to get the board to give them the money. So when I tendered my resignation, the guy saw his $1 billion of capital going away. And I'm sure he said to someone that works for him, give the kid whatever he wants, but he can't quit yet. And I was 24-year-old. I happened to be important to a guy that needed $1 billion.
So that's kind of some of the backgrounds of what he is. He's not he probably is a really cool CEO boss of a company, et cetera. I really like what MicroStrategy does, but he's a nasty quant. He's dangerous at what he can do. And when I'm saying not detrimental to the market, he's really good at what he does. Really, really good. If you gave me $1 billion and told me to buy a bunch of Litecoin, I would struggle with trying to buy that much Litecoin and not double, triple the price, right? He's good at it. He knows what he does and how he does it. And I kind of want to go into how this guy does what he does and how Elon Musk copied it. He's alluded to it in interviews, um, what his playbook does and how he plays by it. And then there was a leak from Tesla early this year that kind of confirms all the little bits and pieces that Michael Saylor puts out in interviews. Because, like I said, he'll never tell you the whole pie of how he does it, but there's bits and pieces. And then this leak is talking about all the bits and pieces compiled together being used actively at Tesla. And earlier in the year, it might have been the end of 2020, someone from Tesla posted on Reddit that they're buying Bitcoin and how they're doing it. And he says the way we did it was buying small amounts of Bitcoin every few seconds and big amounts of Bitcoin after a dip of at least 1.5%. We did this with the bot, which we developed with Python and Node JS. So he had 9 days, if you remember the timeline. He was given the playbook. 9 days they were moving on Bitcoin and already had the board of directors approve it through Tesla with that big investment. So basically, that playbook they were basically copying and pasting the bot that Saylor had produced in that playbook and was tweaking it for the needs of Tesla. And if you look into some of the interviews, he talks about he does all his entries on 3 second candles, and that's I don't know about you, but if you're most traders don't look at the seconds. They look at the hourly, the 4 hourly, maybe the 30, the 15, but no one really pays attention in the 3 seconds. And you got to realize when Michael Saylor's buying, he doesn't want to do this. He does not want the price to climb. He wants the price to stay level and pay cheap. He wants it as cheap as absolutely possible. And I'll pull it over in a minute. He tries to buy. Let me see. Occasionally, I think I can spot it, but I it's me guessing if it's really him. There it is. He lives in the seconds. He doesn't live in the minutes or the hours. And he has time frames at which he has to buy, say, 10 million or 20 million. Whatever he's approved to buy, he has to start buying it. And he has to buy it in this trading range of whenever the time frame is. And this is one part where we could see an actual pump up in Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden, there's a type of floor where someone keeps buying it up, buying it up, buying it up, buying it up, buying it up. And if you go back to the leak, they talk about they buy continuously over like little 3 second candles, and then they will actually turn on the afterburners and go hard if there's anything over 1.5%. And I'm half suspecting, and this actually lined up with one of his tweets, because what Michael Saylor will do is he will buy a bunch of Bitcoin, and then a few days later he'll announce it on Twitter. Um, I'll get rid of that later. But anyway, that's gonna stink. Anyways, you can see this was a 2% drop, and then someone bought it up. And I'm half suspecting this is MicroStrategy's doing what they do best. Let me go back to it. So while the whole time he's buying on the 3 second candles, he's also buying up dips. I may have lost it. Where was that time frame? There it is. No, there it is. So these little dips here, these are 2% triggers. And someone keeps buying. So, and like I said, this aligned with one of the tweets, but I'm half suspecting this is Michael Saylor in the blockchain right here. He's buying on the 3 seconds and then he's eating up every dip. This got defended every single time until it finally broke. Boom, 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 boom. Someone kept doing this on low time frames. And, I could talk on and on for hours about this, but what I'm trying to open everyone's eyes to and realize is these guys are playing with big money. These guys are playing with quantitative tools. They kind of try to hide in the shadows. They don't want you to know they're buying, but they're here. And a lot of people, talk about don't realize how much manipulation and how much aggressiveness is in this marketplace. There's a lot of aggressiveness, and probably 80, 90% of all the trades of all of Wall Street are actually quantitative, even though you don't realize it. It's bots just constantly firing off, trying to make an edge. And he's using these tools to his advantage. And like I said, when he talks about tweets, if you go to his Twitter page, you constantly see where is that tweet? You constantly see this. So when he's buying on the 3 second candles, he gets into his position. A day or two later, he'll pop this tweet out, and he's got hundreds of these things where he's constantly buying Bitcoin, and he's got up to $2.2 billion worth right now. And he bought it on this average price. So basically, that's what his bot acquired in that time frame. So 262 bitcoins for $15 million and an average of 57,000. So um, it's kind of how nasty and dirty his bots are, and it's not detrimental to anybody. It's just it's really slick and really cool how he does it. And a lot of people think, like I said, Bitcoin was being bought up by Tesla, and a lot of people think it happened in Q1. It didn't. It happened over here, or it happened here. The end of December, he was buying up and using the bots. So right around this time frame is when Tesla actually started going in on the blockchain. And then it's since then has doubled. He's doubled. His average entry price from that time frame was like below 30,000. Yeah, high 20s. So he's almost doubled it. And one of the things that I kind of want to point out is, if everyone remembered, like I said in the back, Sailor wants to buy stuff for cheap and he wants to buy a lot of it. And typically, that the laws of economics, supply versus demand, he's got a lot of demand and he's trying to hide it. So back to the shot heard around the world. This is kind of an example. This tweet alone, without a purchase, pumped the price of Bitcoin 20%. We were in a downtrend going straight down. It pumped 20%. That's straight up Elon Musk tweeting about Bitcoin and saying Tesla did it. What these guys do, that shows you the power of what Tesla can do. Tesla doesn't want to buy at a 20% premium. They want to buy down here and they want to keep it hidden and they want to keep it cool and calm. But essentially, that's what that playbook does. It's a Python bot running on 3 second candles and allows him to keep buying up all these little dips, buying up continuously over time. Even if the price is slowly going up, he'll nip away at 3% or little bits, and then buy any big dip. But um, the big overall picture is, and why this is important. Um, you understand who's entering the market. You're understanding the tools they use to enter the market, and now you really need to understand something bigger. Michael Saylor unleashed these tools to the world on February 3rd, 2021. This playbook that Tesla was using to buy all their Bitcoin wasn't free for all, wasn't available. This year at the MicroStrategy Summit, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees as well as companies represented, and they got access to this playbook. And this is turnkey, how to get your company legally set up to buy Bitcoin, how to hold custody of it, and as well as the Python bot to own it. Now, this is big, and it's this is the mastermind. This is or not Barry Silver. This is Saylor got Tesla's attention, and now he's got the world's attention. This shot heard around the world had everybody asking, "How do we do this? How do we do this?" Barry Silver dropped the bomb February 3rd and gave everybody the keys to the castle. So now the race of the Fortune 500 and all the other worldwide companies is on. You don't want to be the last 10 of the Fortune 500 to get into Bitcoin. You want to be the first 10. And now the keys are out there. So Barry Silbert may not be able to spot any more of the others because there's going to be a lot of other companies. I keep hearing rumors Apple's doing it, and they very well might be buying it right now, and they just haven't announced it. But we're going to start seeing that in the future pretty soon. A lot of companies publicly disclosing that they're buying Bitcoin, and they're going to be using his tools, and it's going to be tricky. And it just people need to realize. A lot of people don't realize, when you're manually trading, you're up against computers, whether you like it or not. There's a lot of bots trading, and these are the guys doing it. This guy in particular doesn't sell, so it's really awesome what they do because they're killing supply and driving price up, which is going to get us all the Lambos we want. But um, I just want to go into that. It's maybe not interesting to a lot of people, but I think it's really interesting. And it's these quantitative traders. These guys are way above me. But you got to realize these are some of the nastiest traders in the world. They do great. They have great returns. They do not take big losses. Um, Kind of the holy grail I've always looked at is Alameda Research. These guys are at the top of the BitMEX leaderboards all day, all year. 24/7. They're constantly trading. And one of the things is a lot of these personnel, they are MIT educated engineers, particularly Caroline, Sam, and SBF. I do a lot of research on. But these guys are really nasty with the bots and trading algorithms and stuff that they use, and they do well. They win over time, and they make a living doing it, and they do really really well. So just it's an interesting topic to me. A lot of people want to talk about Bitcoin. A lot of people want to talk about technical analysis, but not a lot of people want to dive into the guys that have a lot of control of the market, especially the Sam. I do a lot of research on what he does and Caroline. Um, but these are the guys. Alameda Research. They're not necessarily just buying and holding forever. They do a lot of buying and selling. So keep that in mind. But the micro strategies and the grayscale, Barry Silbert, Michael Saylor, those dudes are the ones buying this stuff up and holding it long term. And particularly Michael Saylor, he's the one that's laying the foundation, in my opinion, for 6 and 7 figure Bitcoin. This race that he started um, is going to be unreal, and it's in play right now. Tesla's in position. The others are running towards it. You don't know who the others are yet, but by God, they're going to have to disclose at some point. Whether that's Q2, Q3, Q4, I don't really know, but it's really going to cause an issue on supply, which is good for us. People who like Bitcoin like the price going up, obviously. So that's going to be bad news if you're a shorter, but it's going to be really good news if you're a bull. So long term, though, this is everyone talks about Bitcoin going to infinity and whatnot. Da, 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 da. This dude did it. You don't see it yet, but this is the guy that's done it, and is going to push it into insane numbers, and very well may crush the backside. I hear people start talking about super cycles where we don't have a bear market. We're going into a parabolic trend now, and I'm expecting that we're going to have a pullback probably later this Q4ish, maybe Q2 next year. But anyway, with this much demand, these companies coming in, I don't know if 40% pullbacks are on the table anymore. It's kind of an interesting topic. So anywho, that's the long story of it. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. If you're looking to see any of my bots or any of my tools, go to stackedinvest.com and look up Captain Quint. Otherwise, have a nice day. Thank you.